My name is Daniel, and from the outside looking in, I probably seemed like the most ordinary guy you could meet. 24 years old, a recent graduate trying to land a steady job in graphic design, living with my girlfriend Emma in a modest two-bedroom apartment in the city. We weren't rich, but we had each other, and most days that was enough. Emma was everything I thought I needed: warm, quick-witted, supportive in her own stubborn way. To her friends, we looked like a picture-perfect couple. But inside me lived a secret that I could never share with her or anyone really. For as long as I could remember, I'd been drawn to the feminine. It wasn't just curiosity. It was fascination. The way a dress moved, the subtle shimmer of lipstick, the elegant clack of heels on a hardwood floor. It stirred something in me that I could never explain without sounding strange. By the time I hit high school, I realized it wasn't a passing phase. Whenever I was alone, I'd experiment. A borrowed scarf, a tube of lip gloss left on the counter, even Emma's old sundress tucked in the back of the closet. Crossdressing wasn't just a hobby for me. It was like slipping into a hidden part of myself. A part that felt vulnerable, yet strangely complete. But it was also dangerous. Every time I tried on those clothes, I felt a rush of adrenaline, not just because of how they made me feel, but because of what would happen if I got caught. Emma didn't know, and that truth sat heavy on my chest every day we lived together. She was open-minded, sure, but what if this was the one thing she couldn't accept? What if she saw me differently, not as her boyfriend, but as some stranger playing dress-up in her life? Our apartment was cozy, 2 bedrooms, one converted into my office, where I half-heartedly looked for freelance gigs while Emma worked as a marketing assistant downtown. Most evenings, she came home tired but smiling, flopping on the couch beside me and telling me stories about her coworkers. We'd order takeout, binge a show, and sometimes, when I was lucky, she'd fall asleep against my shoulder. It should have been enough. But every time Emma left for work, I felt the pull. I'd wander into our shared bedroom, open her side of the closet, and my pulse would quicken at the rows of blouses, skirts, and dresses. I told myself I'd just look. But more often than not, I gave in. I'd try on a blouse, fix my hair in the mirror, and whisper silently, "If only you could be this girl for a while," without fear. Of course, I always changed back before Emma returned, shoving everything neatly into place, scrubbing away the faintest trace of lipstick or mascara. But no matter how careful I was, the fear of discovery haunted me. That fear became sharper when Emma's younger sister, Chloe, started visiting more often. Chloe was 19, bold, outspoken, and mischievous in ways that made Emma roll her eyes. She was in college nearby and seemed to drop by whenever she pleased, always with a grin and a teasing remark ready. Unlike Emma, Chloe noticed everything. Once, she asked why one of Emma's tops looked slightly stretched out. Another time, she joked about how I seemed to know more about her nail polish collection than most guys. I laughed it off, but my stomach tightened each time. It wasn't long before Chloe's visits became a regular part of our lives. She'd sprawl on the couch, scrolling through her phone while Emma cooked, or she'd drag Emma out shopping for hours. And when Emma wasn't around, Chloe would give me these sly looks, like she knew something I didn't want her to know. I tried to shake it off. But deep down, I feared Chloe had guessed my secret. Emma and I had been together for almost 3 years, and she was starting to talk about the future, about moving into a bigger place, about maybe even getting married. Those conversations always filled me with warmth and dread at the same time. I wanted that future with her. But how could I say yes to forever when I was hiding a part of myself so big, so consuming? One rainy Friday evening, Chloe came over while Emma was stuck late at work. She leaned against the kitchen counter, sipping a soda, while I nervously made small talk. Then, with a wicked grin, she said something that froze me in place. "You know, Daniel," she said casually, "I bet you'd make a prettier girlfriend than half the girls I know." I laughed nervously, pretending it was a joke. But her eyes didn't waver. She was watching me too closely, and I felt my face grow hot. "Relax," Chloe said, smirking. "I'm not going to tell Emma. But what if I dared you?" The word dare hung in the air between us, electric and dangerous. I swallowed hard. Dare me to what? To prove it, she said, her grin widening. To actually dress up. For real. Let me see what you're hiding. My heart thundered in my chest. I wanted to deny it, to laugh and shake my head. But something about her tone, teasing, yet serious, made it clear this wasn't just a passing joke. Chloe had seen through me, and now she was calling my bluff. I tried to change the subject, but Chloe leaned in closer, lowering her voice like we were sharing a secret. Don't worry. Emma doesn't have to know. Think of it as our little game. Her words stirred a dangerous mix of fear and temptation inside me. If I refused, Chloe might press harder, or worse, tell Emma. But if I accepted, if I stepped into that dare, I'd be opening a door I might never close again. As the rain drummed against the windows, I realized I was standing on the edge of something bigger than I'd ever faced. My secret was no longer just mine. Chloe had found it, named it, and turned it into a challenge. And deep down, beneath all the fear, a tiny voice whispered the truth I didn't want to admit.
Part of me wanted to say yes.
I barely slept that night. Chloe's words looped through my mind like a haunting echo. I bet you make a prettier girlfriend than half the girls I know. I dare you to prove it. I told myself it was ridiculous. She was just teasing. She'd probably forget about it by tomorrow. But the next time Chloe came over, she didn't forget. Emma had gone grocery shopping, leaving me and Chloe alone in the apartment. The silence felt charged, dangerous. Chloe smirked as she scrolled through her phone, then casually tossed it onto the couch and leaned toward me. So, Daniel, about that dare. I froze, my pulse quickening. What dare? Her grin widened. Don't play dumb. I want to see it. I want to see you dressed up. You know you've thought about it. I felt heat rise in my cheeks. She was baiting me and I knew it. But the terrifying thing was she wasn't wrong. I can't, I muttered. It's stupid. And if Emma won't know. Chloe cut in sharply. This is between you and me. Unless, she tilted her head, eyes glinting. Unless you're too scared. The word scared jabbed at me like a knife. I'd lived so long in the shadows of the secret, terrified of exposure. And now Chloe was dangling that fear in front of me like a string, daring me to follow. She stood up suddenly and walked toward Emma's closet. My stomach dropped. Wait, what are you doing? Chloe looked over her shoulder, smirking. Helping you get started. You don't think I haven't noticed? The way Emma's blouses get moved around, the faint smudge of lipstick missing from her drawer? I felt my heart stop. She knew. She really knew. Chloe pulled out a simple floral sundress, holding it up against me with a mischievous smile.
This one.
Cute, but not too fancy. Let's see how you look. I shook my head violently. No way. I'm not. Daniel, she said softly, cutting off my protest. Her tone shifted, less teasing, more serious. I'm not here to make fun of you. I want to see the real you. The part you're hiding. Trust me for once. Her words disarmed me in a way I didn't expect. For so long, I'd lived with the weight of my secret pressing me down. And here Chloe was, not only acknowledging it, but inviting it. My hands trembled as I took the dress from her. Chloe's eyes sparkled with triumph. Go on. Bathroom's right there. I'll wait. I stepped inside, locking the door behind me, and leaned against the sink, breathing hard. The mirror stared back at me, just Daniel, average, unremarkable. But as I held the dress, something stirred inside me. With shaking hands, I slipped out of my t-shirt and jeans and pulled the sundress over my head. The fabric was soft, flowing against my skin in a way that made my breath catch. It clung lightly at the waist, flared at the hem, and when I looked up into the mirror, I almost didn't recognize myself. But Chloe wasn't done. Open the door, she called, her voice playful yet firm. No, Open it, or I'll drag you out myself. With a trembling hand, I unlocked the door. Chloe's eyes lit up when she saw me. Well, she said with a low whistle. Look at you. Not bad at all. I wanted to shrink into the floor. But Chloe circled me slowly, her gaze sharp. Then she grabbed Emma's makeup bag from the counter.
Sit.
You're not done yet. Before I could protest, Chloe pushed me into the chair by the vanity. She opened the bag with practiced ease, pulling out foundation, blush, mascara. My protests melted into silence as she dabbed, brushed, and blended. The sensation of makeup on my skin made my pulse race. Every stroke brought me closer to a version of myself I'd only dreamed of. Stop fidgeting, Chloe scolded lightly. You'll ruin the eyeliner. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay still. When she finally spun me around to face the mirror, I gasped. The person staring back wasn't just Daniel in a dress. It was someone else. Softer, more delicate. My cheekbones looked sharper under the blush, my eyes wider and more expressive with mascara. I whispered the words before I realized they'd slipped out. She looks real. Chloe's grin widened. You look real. And you know what? You're pretty. The word hit me like a shockwave.
Pretty.
No one had ever said that to me. A nervous laugh escaped me. This is insane. Emma could walk in any second. Chloe's expression turned sly. That's what makes it fun, doesn't it? The risk. The thrill of maybe getting caught. She was right. My heart pounded with fear and exhilaration all at once. The longer I sat there in that dress, with makeup and hair framing my face, the more I felt both exposed and alive. Then Chloe handed me a pair of Emma's heels. Put these on. I hesitated. Heels were a line I hadn't dared to cross. But Chloe's raised eyebrow left me no choice. I slid my feet into the shoes, wobbling as I stood. Chloe laughed softly, but with a note of admiration.
Perfect, she said.
Now walk. I stumbled at first, but Chloe guided me, correcting my steps until I moved with something resembling grace. Each click of the heels against the hardwood floor sent a shiver up my spine. And then, just as I was starting to lose myself in the moment, the front door clicked. The sound froze us both. Emma was home. Chloe's eyes widened, but instead of panicking, she smirked, whispering urgently, Quick, in the spare room. Go. I rushed into the second bedroom, my so-called office, as Emma's voice called out from the entryway. Hey, I'm back. You wouldn't believe the traffic. I pressed against the wall, heart hammering, every nerve alive with fear. Chloe shot me a wicked grin as she moved to greet her sister, leaving me hidden, trembling in a dress and heels, makeup fresh on my face. I knew then that this was no longer just a secret hobby. The dare had pulled me into a dangerous game, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to escape. From the office, I heard Emma's keys clatter on the kitchen counter, the sound of grocery bags rustling, and her cheerful voice calling out, Daniel?
Chloe?
I got that ice cream you like. My heart slammed against my ribs. If she came looking for me now, it was over. Chloe shot me a look from the hallway, one finger pressed to her lips, silently commanding me to stay quiet. Then she breezed toward Emma with practiced ease, her voice light and casual. Finally. Took you long enough. Want help putting this away? I could barely breathe. My reflection in the darkened computer monitor looked alien. Soft features painted with makeup, floral dress clinging to my frame, heels making my legs look longer, more feminine. This was the version of me I'd never dared to let Emma see. And now Chloe had. Minutes stretched into hours. Or maybe it just felt that way. I listened as Chloe and Emma chatted in the kitchen, laughter spilling out like nothing was wrong. At last, Chloe poked her head into the office, her grin wicked. All clear, she whispered. You can relax. I collapsed into the chair, running a trembling hand down my skirt. That was insane. She could have walked in. That's what makes it fun. Chloe cut in, smirking. Then her eyes flicked over me, thoughtful. You know, something's missing. What do you mean? She tapped her chin dramatically, then darted out of the room. A moment later she returned with a long, chestnut brown wig, one I recognized instantly. Emma had bought it last year for a Halloween party we never ended up attending. Chloe tossed it at me. Try it. I shook my head.
No.
Chloe, this has gone way too far. Her smirk softened into something more serious. Daniel, look at yourself. Doesn't it feel good? Don't you want to see how far you can go? Her words sank into me like hooks. I should have refused. I should have put my clothes back on and ended it there. But my hands moved on their own, lifting the wig and sliding it into place. When I turned toward the mirror, I gasped. The woman staring back wasn't just an echo of me. She looked real.
Alive.
Long waves framed my face, the makeup accentuating my cheekbones and eyes. For the first time in my life, I didn't just look like Daniel playing dress-up. I looked like someone else entirely, someone who belonged. Chloe's grin widened. Now you're perfect. A dizzy thrill swept through me. For years I'd hidden, terrified of being caught. And now, standing there in Emma's clothes, wig, and heels, I felt both terrified and free. But freedom came with danger. That night, after Chloe left, I scrubbed away every trace of makeup, shoved the dress back into Emma's closet, and sat awake long after Emma had fallen asleep beside me. The echo of Chloe's words haunted me. Now you're perfect. The next week, Chloe pushed harder. She started texting me when Emma wasn't around. You thinking about it again? Wanna practice? Each message made my pulse race. At first, I ignored her, but eventually, I couldn't resist. One afternoon, when Emma was at work and Chloe dropped by unannounced, she smirked and said, "Ready for round 2?" I should have said no. Instead, I nodded. This time, Chloe didn't stop at makeup and a dress. She brought out jewelry, dangling earrings, a delicate necklace, and even perfume. When she sprayed it on my neck, I shivered. Names matter, Chloe said as she adjusted the wig. Every girl needs one. So, what should we call you? I stared at myself in the mirror, lips painted, hair framing my face, heels elongating my posture. A name bubbled up before I could stop it. Danielle, I whispered. Chloe grinned. Danielle it is. Hearing it aloud sent a strange warmth through me, like this hidden part of myself had finally been named. We practiced mannerisms, how to sit with my legs crossed, how to tilt my head when I laughed, how to soften my walk in heels. Chloe treated it like a game, but for me it felt like stepping into a role I'd always wanted to play. And then came the close call. Emma came home early. I was in the living room, wig on, makeup perfect, floral skirt swishing around my legs as Chloe made me practice pouring tea, like a lady. The door clicked and Emma's voice rang out. I'm back. I froze, the teacup trembling in my hands. Chloe reacted instantly, darting across the room and yanking me toward the spare bedroom. Move, she hissed. We barely made it inside, shutting the door just as Emma stepped into the hallway. I pressed against the wall, breathless, listening to her footsteps. Chloe? Thought you'd gone home, Emma called. Chloe shouted back, her voice too high-pitched. Just grabbing my stuff. I stared at her in horror, whispering, She's going to find out. Not if you keep quiet, Chloe snapped. We waited in suffocating silence until Emma's footsteps retreated toward the kitchen. Chloe exhaled, her grin returning.
See?
You love this. Admit it. I shook my head, but the pounding of my heart told a different story. That night, as I lay beside Emma, pretending to be asleep, I realized Chloe's dare had become something more. It wasn't just a game anymore. It was a double life, and each time I stepped into Danielle, it became harder to step back out. The real danger wasn't Chloe discovering me. It wasn't even Emma walking in at the wrong moment. The real danger was that part of me didn't want to stop. And as the days went by, that part grew louder. The line between thrill and danger blurred quickly. What started as Chloe's teasing dare had become a ritual. Every time Emma left for work, Chloe appeared with that mischievous grin, dragging me into practice. But the word practice was misleading. This wasn't just dress up anymore. One afternoon, Chloe smoothed down the skirt of a pale blue dress she'd chosen for me, tilting her head with mock seriousness. A girlfriend needs to know how to act in public. Don't you think, Danielle? My stomach dropped. Public?
No.
Chloe, that's... Relax.
She grinned.
Not a mall or anything. Just down the hall. One little walk, heels clicking, no one the wiser. I stared at her, horrified. The thought of stepping outside dressed like this, even for a second, made my skin tingle with panic. But she leaned closer, whispering, "Unless you're too scared." That word again. Scared. And she knew it hooked me every time. 5 minutes later, I was creeping down the dimly lit apartment hallway, heels wobbling against the polished floor. My heart raced with every step, terrified a neighbor would open their door. But the air against my legs, the swish of the skirt, it was intoxicating. When we slipped back inside, I was breathless, both terrified and alive. Chloe laughed softly.
See?
You're a natural. But the danger didn't stop there. Emma began noticing little things. Did you use my perfume? She asked one night, frowning as she leaned close. I froze. No, why? She shrugged but looked unconvinced. Another time, she frowned at her makeup bag. Weird. I thought this lipstick was fuller. Each comment sent icy dread down my spine. I started scrubbing harder, hiding better, but no matter how careful I was, Chloe's games pushed me closer to exposure. The breaking point came one evening when Chloe dared me to try something bolder. Pretend you're Emma's girlfriend, she said, eyes gleaming. I blinked. What does that even mean? She leaned back on the couch, smirking. Act like it. The way you'd treat her, sweet, attentive. Like you're stepping into her shoes. I laughed nervously, shaking my head. But Chloe didn't back down. She coached me. How to tilt my voice softer, how to gesture delicately, how to smile like Emma did. Against my better judgment, I played along. And then the front door clicked. Emma's voice rang out. I'm home early. My blood ran cold. I was in full Danielle mode, wig, makeup, dress, heels. There was no time to hide. Chloe's eyes widened, but instead of panicking, she whispered, Act natural. Don't move. The doorknob turned. I stumbled toward the office, heart slamming, but the heel of Emma's shoe caught in the rug. I tripped, crashing into the coffee table. The wig slipped, tilting dangerously. Lipstick smeared across my cheek. Emma stepped into the room just as I scrambled upright. For one breathless second, our eyes met. Hers narrowed in confusion, then widened with shock. Daniel? She whispered. Silence roared between us. My chest heaved. Chloe's smirk had vanished, replaced with sharp tension. Emma's eyes flicked from the wig to the dress to the smeared lipstick. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I wanted to explain, to beg, to disappear, but nothing came. Then Chloe cut in smoothly, her voice too bright. Oh my God, Emma, relax. It was just a dare. I was messing with him. Emma blinked, torn between disbelief and relief. A dare? Yeah, Chloe said quickly, nudging me with a sharp elbow. Right, Daniel? Just for fun. I nodded frantically, throat dry.
Why ya?
Just for fun. Emma stared a moment longer, then let out a shaky laugh. God, you scared me. For a second I thought. She shook her head, cutting herself off. Well, never mind. She walked into the kitchen, muttering about needing a drink. I collapsed onto the couch, my hands trembling. Chloe leaned close, whispering in my ear.
See?
You almost got caught. And you loved it. I hated her for being right. But that moment, the wig slipping, Emma's shocked eyes, burned itself into my memory. A symbolic split in my life. Two selves colliding. Daniel, the boyfriend, and Danielle, the secret girlfriend. And I didn't know which one Emma had really seen. Alex stood in front of the mirror, heart pounding like a drum. He hardly recognized the person staring back at him. The blue dress clung to his frame in all the right places. The wig framed his face with glossy waves, and Lily's makeup artistry had transformed his features so convincingly that, even to his own eyes, he wasn't Alex anymore. He was someone else. Someone breathtaking. Lily clapped her hands, her grin wide and triumphant.
See?
What did I tell you? You look perfect. Emma won't know what hit her. Alex shook his head, panic and awe tangling in his chest. This is insane, Lily. I can't let her see me like this. She'll think Think you're what? Lily teased, tilting her head. Beautiful? Confident? Someone worth keeping. Her words stung because, deep down, they hit the truth Alex had never admitted. Part of him liked it. Liked the feel of the fabric swishing against his legs, the soft tug of the wig, the strange power in the click of heels on the floor. For the first time, he didn't feel small or awkward. He felt noticed. The sharp buzz of his phone cut through the moment. Alex snatched it off the dresser. A new message from Emma lit up the screen. Emma. Hey, change of plans. My parents want us to meet for lunch here at my house instead of the restaurant. Can you come early? Like now. Alex's stomach flipped.
No. No, no, no.
This can't be happening. Lily's smile turned sly. Oh, this is perfect. Perfect. Alex snapped, his voice higher than usual. He clutched at the hem of the dress like it was burning him. I'm trapped like this. How am I supposed to get there in time? How do I change back fast enough? But Lily was already pulling her phone from her pocket, her fingers flying across the screen. Alex frowned. What are you doing? She smirked. Texting Emma back for you. Alex lunged, but Lily darted out of reach, holding the phone above her head. His heels wobbled dangerously as he stumbled forward. Lily, give it back. This isn't funny. Oh, relax, she said, eyes gleaming. I told her you'd be right over. Alex's blood ran cold. Lily, tell me you didn't. I did, she said sweetly. And guess what? You're going like this. The room seemed to tilt around him. He grabbed the edge of the dresser for balance, his reflection swimming in the mirror. The elegant stranger staring back felt like a trap, a mask he couldn't take off. No, he whispered. I can't. Emma will never forgive me. Her parents will. Her parents will love you, Lily interrupted, stepping closer, her voice low and coaxing. And Emma, well, let's just say she might see you in a whole new light. Alex's heart thundered. The idea terrified him. It thrilled him. And then, a car door slammed outside. Alex's breath caught. Both he and Lily froze. Through the thin curtains, headlights flickered across the wall. The sound of footsteps echoed up the front walk. Lily's grin widened, wicked and knowing. Looks like she's early. Alex's knees went weak. His mind screamed change back, hide, run. But his body wouldn't move. He stood paralyzed, caught between two selves, as the front door creaked open. Alex. Emma's voice rang out, casual and curious. Are you here? Alex's pulse hammered in his throat. He was out of time. He glanced at Lily, who only gave him a playful wink. The doorknob to his room turned. The last thing he saw before the door swung open was his own reflection, wide-eyed, painted lips trembling, the blue dress glimmering under the light, looking every bit the perfect girlfriend. And then, the door opened. Alex. Emma's voice stopped dead. Silence. Alex's world shattered into a million pieces.